This section is on the plurality method. With the plurality method, it's pretty basic. We just want the most first place votes, and that candidate who gets the most first place votes is going to be called the plurality candidate. It's a real simple example. We want to find the winner using the plurality method. So we've got 4 candidates, A, B, C, and D. We've got our preference schedule with all the different combinations of ballots that were cast compiled into this list. So it looks like 4 people chose C as their top choice, with B, D, A following. But then we also have 4 people that chose C as their top choice, with D, B, A following in that order. So we're going to combine those, and C total has 8 first place votes. A has 5 first place votes. B got only 2 first place votes. And D received only 3. So our clear winner is candidate C. Okay, the majority rule. The candidate with more than half the vote should be the winner. So more than half, more than 50%. And we're going to call that person the majority candidate when they get the majority of the first place votes. It's pretty appealing because it's really just easy to use. Usually you see in our U.S. presidential elections, typically there is a Democrat and a Republican candidate. Sometimes there's a third party in there, but those are usually the 2 main ones that you see on TV a lot. So if just the 2 of them are running, it's going to be pretty easy for one of them to get the majority. However, sometimes there might be 3 more candidates, and you might have someone who gets the most votes, but no one that receives more than half. For instance, if we have that type of election, and let's say that maybe 45% of the vote goes to the Democratic candidate, and 35% goes to the Republican, and then 20% goes to some third party. Well, as you see, none of those are more than half, more than 50%. So there is no clear majority candidate. Here's one of the fairness criterions in this chapter. It's called the majority criterion. If candidate X has a majority of the first place votes, then candidate X should be the winner of the election. Seems pretty straightforward. And the good news is the plurality method does satisfy this majority criterion. It's usually going to work. The bad news is there are other criterions coming up later that the plurality method doesn't really go along well with. And we'll talk about those in just a little bit. Okay, there are other voting methods we're going to cover in this chapter, and sometimes you're going to get the case where somebody does win the majority of the first place votes, but depending on the method that you use, they don't actually win the election. So that'll be coming up later, and this is okay. This can happen. It just depends on the type of method you want to use and whether you think it's fair or not. Okay. This is a larger example. Tasmania State University has a superb marching band. They are so good that they have invitations to perform at 5 different bowl games. The Rose Bowl, we'll denote that with just R, and the others with just letters. The Hula Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl. An election is held among the 100 members of the band to decide in which the bowl game they will perform. All right. We've got our 5 choices. Here's our preference schedule laid out for us. And our questions are, find the winner using the plurality method. That should be pretty simple here. It looks like there were 49 people who voted in this exact order, R, H, F, O, S. 48 wanted the Hula Bowl first, and 3 wanted the Fiesta Bowl first. Well, we're just concerned about first place votes. So the Rose Bowl is our winner. Is this a good outcome? Why or why not? Well, you may think so, maybe not. I mean, the Rose Bowl, yeah, it got the most first place votes. Not a majority, though. And if you look down at the bottom, there were actually a lot of people who did not want the Rose Bowl, or at least they put it as their last choice. Whereas, let's look at a different bowl. The Hula Bowl was second choice for those first 49 people, first choice for these 48, but also second choice for these 3 people. So we've got the Rose Bowl that was liked by a good portion of the class, the most, but then for everyone else, and in fact 51 people, so more than 49 people, put it as their last choice, whereas the Hula Bowl seems to be more overall liked by everybody. So is this fair? Well, that's for us to decide, and we'll talk about ways to deal with this in the next part of the lesson.